Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to stay updated with all our latest content. Join us and never miss out on the excitement. In 1968, a talk show segment hosted by Murray features two epidemiologists, one of whom is Dr. Newman. They begin discussing the prospect of a global pandemic, and Dr. Newman asserts his belief that humans will always overcome any potential threats. However, he makes an unusual claim that fungus will pose more of a threat to humankind than any other microorganism. Cordyceps unilateralis, a fungus that can take control of an ant's brain, kill the ant, and keep the ant from decomposing. His colleague, Dr. Schoenhuis, claims that this type of fungus is not known to affect humans. Dr. Newman agrees, but insinuates that global warming may force fungi to adapt to higher temperatures, would allow the fungi to invade the human brain and cause a global pandemic affecting billions of people. After an awkward silence, the talk show abruptly cuts to a commercial break. On September 26, 2003, in Austin, Texas, Sarah Miller cooks breakfast for her father, Joel. As they enjoy breakfast, Tommy, Joel's brother, joins them. In light of a construction project falling behind schedule, Joel and Tommy agree to work a double shift that day in order to regain ground and maintain financial stability. Sarah is disheartened as she will be unable to celebrate her father's birthday with him. However, Joel mitigates the situation by pledging to bring home a cake that evening. Meanwhile, the news on the radio reports about an outbreak in Jakarta, Indonesia. Breakfast is cut short, and Sarah gets ready for school. She grabs $60 and a broken watch from Joel's room, and she plays with the blade of his knife. As Joel packs the car, Sarah makes a deal with her neighbor, Danny Adler, to come over after school and bake cookies with his wife, Connie Adler. Near the end of the school day, Sarah notices one of her classmates has an odd arm twitch. After dismissal, she takes the bus to Lone Star Watch and Jewelry. Sarah is surprised at the jeweler watchmaker Nasir's offer to fix her watch for only $20. As he fixes it, police cars can be seen speeding by the store, and Tahira walks in demanding that the store be closed. She returns the repaired watch to Sarah and ushers her out of the store. Sarah arrives at the Adler household and questions Connie about the heightened presence of law enforcement in the city. After baking cookies with Connie, Sarah works on homework while Connie feeds her mother, Nana, who seems to have a progressive form of dementia or aphasia, in the adjacent room. Connie leaves to take the cookies out of the oven, and Sarah enters the room with Nana, checking out Connie's DVD collection. She is unaware that in the other room, Nana is turning into one of the infected. On her way home, Sarah notices fighter jets flying overhead. Joel comes home an hour late without a cake, much to Sarah's disappointment. However, she quickly cheers up and gives him his two birthday presents, a watch she had fixed for him, and a copy of Curtis and Viper 2 from Danny Adler. The two watch the movie together on the couch, and Sarah falls asleep. As Joel watches the movie, he receives a phone call from Tommy, who is in jail for assault and needs to be bailed out. He explains that he got into a fight defending a waitress at a bar, knocking a man out who was crazy. Joel, with a heavy heart, agrees to bail him out so he won't have to spend the weekend in jail. He carries a sleeping Sarah to her room, tucks her in, and leaves the house at 11:03 p.m. At 2:16 a.m., Sarah is awakened by the sound of a helicopter. She gets up to find Joel missing and turns on the TV to see the emergency alert system being broadcasted. She is startled when Mercy pounds against the window and heads outside to comfort him. As she looks up, she sees a military helicopter in the sky. She tries to bring Mercy back to the Adlers, but he breaks his collar and runs away. Sarah walks into the Adlers to find Danny sitting against the kitchen wall, fatally injured and in shock. She sees an infected Nana biting a lifeless Connie's neck. Nana, with her tendrils fully exposed, notices Sarah and stares at her for a few seconds before chasing her outside. Just then, Joel and Tommy arrive, and Joel urges Sarah to get in the truck. Nana runs out of the house and trips on the doorstep, and they watch in awe as she crawls, then runs toward Joel, who strikes her in the head with a pipe wrench. While Joel consoles a frantic Sarah, A transformer explodes in the distance, and Tommy urges them to get in the car. As they drive out of the neighborhood, Tommy runs over an infected Connie and sideswipes an infected Danny. Denise, another neighbor, runs outside, shocked. While driving to an alternate highway, they pass multiple police officers, and Joel and Tommy attempt to calm a curious yet stressed Sarah. They discuss rumors of it being a virus or parasite, the lack of communication systems, the possibility of a terrorist attack, and the chance that one of them may be sick. They see their friend Jimmy's farm engulfed in flames and pass a stranded family on the side of the road. Joel convinces Tommy not to stop. They try to merge onto the highway, avoiding contraflow traffic, only to see that it is full of people trying to escape. They attempt to cut through a field to the west, only to see the army has set up a huge blockade. Out of options, they head north to cut through a town, find a river, and pick up the highway on the other side of the blockade. Tommy continues to race toward town, and is suddenly astonished to see 3 passenger jets flying very low over them. His path is blocked by law enforcement vehicles, so Tommy detours through the heart of the town, which is saturated with panicked civilians and infected. Tommy feels uneasy about following Joel's suggestion to drive through civilians. As a large crowd runs out of a theater in front of them, the situation becomes more chaotic, and Joel urges Tommy to reverse through the street. Suddenly, one of the passenger planes starts to fall from the sky behind them. The plane crashes in the distance, sending debris flying into their truck. The truck is totaled, and Sarah sees an infected feeding nearby. Joel grabs Sarah, whose ankle is injured, and exits the truck, with Tommy exiting on the other side. A law enforcement vehicle collides with Tommy's truck, barricading Joel and Sarah in an alley and separating them from Tommy. They plan to regroup at the river. Since Sarah cannot run, Joel carries her through the burning town, stumbling upon a group of infected. One of them notices Joel and chases him into a diner. The runner thrashes through the kitchen, almost catching up to Joel in the field outside the diner, but it is unexpectedly shot in the head. Joel turns around to see a soldier aiming his gun at him. The soldier radios his superiors for instructions, notifying them of Sarah's ankle injury. He is told to kill Joel and Sarah. Joel tries to convince the soldier that neither of them are sick, but the soldier opens fire and they fall down a hill. Joel, only grazed by a bullet, is almost shot by the apologetic soldier, but Tommy kills the soldier and saves Joel. They then shift their attention towards Sarah, who was fatally shot in the abdomen and is hyperventilating. Joel attempts to move her, to no avail. He then tries to apply pressure to the wound and calm Sarah, who is in severe pain. He screams for Tommy to help, but Tommy knows it is too late. Sarah passes away in Joel's arms. 20 years later, a dazed young boy stumbles through a forest, coming across a desolate and ravaged Boston, Massachusetts. The child almost makes it to a processing center for the quarantine zone before collapsing and being brought in by a few soldiers. He is rolled into a room where infographics regarding the cordyceps infection are posted on the wall. A sympathetic soldier asks the boy a few basic questions, including where he got his injury, to which the boy is non-responsive. Another soldier scans the boy with an unknown device, which then displays the color red. The soldier asks the boy if he would like some medicine, and for them to make his favorite food, to which he nods yes. As the other soldier injects the boy with Joel Miller, among other quarantine zone residents, are burning previously infected, deceased bodies. A truck arrives with more bodies to burn, and Joel and a woman move to unload it. Finding a child's body in the truck, the woman stops and tells Joel that she cannot bring herself to throw a child into the fire. Joel stoically does it himself, and the child is revealed to be the boy from earlier. Later, Joel is finishing his manual labor and collects payment from a foreman named Knapp. Joel asks if there are any other possible jobs for the day, and Knapp offers one of 2 jobs: street sweeping or sewer maintenance. Joel chooses sewer maintenance since it pays more. The Boston quarantine zone is shown to be a functioning society, dictatorially run by the United States military, controlled by Fedra. The soldiers impose a strict curfew and the rooftops are constantly manned with snipers. Workers paint over graffiti resembling a firefly. Joel walks into an audience witnessing a public execution, but discreetly retreats with a soldier on the side. The soldier, Lee, gives Joel a considerable sum of ration cards. Joel counts it and claims Lee is short $5. Lacking the money, Lee gives him a pack of cigarettes. In exchange, Joel gives Lee hydrocodone. Joel asks about the status of a vehicle he wants, and Lee says he has convinced everyone necessary for the acquisition. Lee asks for $600 for himself and the 4 accomplices, and lets Joel know the vehicle is in bad condition. Joel leverages this and negotiates the price down. Lee warns Joel to stay off the streets due to violence from both an opposition group called the Fireflies and sleep-deprived Fedra soldiers. Elsewhere in Boston, Tess is held in a basement by Robert and his men. Robert apologizes to Tess for ripping her off, having sold a car battery owed to Tess to someone else. Tess, sporting a swollen eye and bloody lip, says they can forget it ever happened, but Robert is still hesitant to release her. He fears reprisal from Joel when he sees Tess's injuries and learns about the car battery. Tess insists that Joel answers to her, and if she tells him to leave Robert alone, he will. Robert is about to agree to release Tess when an explosion tears open the basement wall, killing one of Robert's men and allowing Tess to escape. She emerges onto the street amid blaring alarms and sees the streets quickly flooded with Fedra soldiers. A firefight breaks out between Fedra and a rooftop shooter. Out of options, Tess surrenders to Fedra and is detained, shouting that she is not a firefly. Meanwhile, a young girl is chained to the wall of a room. A medic walks in, attempting to give the girl a tray of food, which she kicks away. A woman asks the girl to perform a series of specific actions, to which the girl, calling herself Veronica, impudently complies. Veronica warns them that Fedra will come looking for her, and she pleads to be let out. The Firefly slogan is painted on the wall, indicating the Fireflies have kidnapped Veronica. Joel visits Abe, who is working as a radio caller. Joel gives him the cigarettes, and Abe says that he hasn't heard anything back from Tommy, even with Gabriella, or his elder son, listening at night. Joel sent Tommy a message 3 weeks prior, and is insistent that it never took Tommy more than a day to respond previously. Joel presses for the location of Tommy's tower, and the man says it is in Wyoming. The man admits Joel is capable of handling himself, but he warns that a trip from Boston to Wyoming will likely be obstructed by the infected, raiders, slavers, and worse things he hears on the radio daily. The man begins marking the location on Joel's map, when Joel abruptly walks out, clearly annoyed. Joel enters his apartment, shifts a dresser, and uncovers a hidden stash by removing some wooden floor tiles. He takes out a map and closely studies it. It is revealed that he still wears the watch that Sarah had fixed for him. He dozes off, but is abruptly awakened by a nightmare. In the morning, Joel is shocked to see Tess's injuries. Tess lies, claiming that she was simply jumped by a few 19-year-olds she provoked. Joel notices that the injuries are old, to which she admits she was being held captive by Fedra for a day. Tess then comes clean and admits she was injured by Robert's men. She says that Robert sold their car battery to someone else. She tries to calm him, claiming they can either get the battery or the money back. Joel seeks the battery, since he is worried about Tommy, and wishes to leave as soon as possible. Tess agrees to get the battery and the money, but she asks Joel to calm down before making a move to ensure a stealthy operation. After hashing out a plan, Joel pulls a gun out of the stash. A woman walks into a Firefly meeting, where she is quickly pressed on the reason behind attacking Fedra. The woman tells them to just follow orders. Her name is revealed to be Marlene, and she reiterates to the questioner, Kim Tembo, that the Firefly's goal is to restore democracy and freedom by waging war against Fedra. She says the Fireflies have been fighting for 20 years and have gained no ground. She reveals a new plan to distract Fedra, while the Fireflies rendezvous at a specific building and leave Boston permanently. Kim asks why they are quitting, to which Marlene says the new plan is to smuggle Veronica somewhere out west. Marlene shows Kim a note containing a shocking message, and they come to an agreement. As Joel watches Tess negotiate ration cards for intel on Robert's whereabouts, a man tells Joel that he looks a little lost, likely trying to gauge Joel's reaction to the phrase and assess if he is a member of the Fireflies or sympathetic to their cause. Joel threatens the man and leaves with Tess. Tess claims Robert is taking the battery to a red-tagged building formerly used by a man named Miguel. She suggests they go through the subway tunnel that night and enter the building from below, taking Robert by surprise. Veronica attempts to break the chains when rainwater drips from the ceiling onto her face. Marlene then enters the room, handing Veronica's backpack to her and sitting next to her. Veronica is still clearly upset, despite Marlene reminding her that she saved her life. Veronica allows Marlene to unlock her from the chains. Veronica asks if it is going to happen, to which Marlene says no. She then asks to leave, to which Marlene also says no. Marlene reveals that she knows Veronica's real name, Ellie, and that Marlene is responsible for Ellie's placement in the Fedra military school immediately after her birth. Shocked, Ellie briefly contemplates whether Marlene is her mother, and then she asks why a terrorist like Marlene would place her in Fedra care. Marlene responds that she felt Ellie would be safest there. Insulted by the terrorist remark, Marlene references Riley's involvement with the Fireflies. The tone becomes grim as Marlene tells Ellie of the plan to leave Boston. Ellie questions Marlene about why she is being smuggled, to which Marlene reveals that Ellie serves a greater purpose, telling her a secret that she says can never be revealed. Joel and Tess enter the Haymarket North Extension and begin to traverse the tunnel. Tess is extremely frightened by a deceased infected whose fungus has grown into the walls. Joel suggests that whatever infected him may still be in the tunnel. Tess navigates them through the route until they reach a barricaded door leading to the desired building. Joel smells gunpowder, and blood pours off the sill of the door. Upon opening the door, they find a group of recently killed Fireflies, as well as the battery, which Tess deems non-functional. Turning a corner, Joel raises his gun and sneaks up to Marlene and Kim, both of whom are badly injured. All of a sudden, Ellie jumps out of her room brandishing a knife, and Joel knocks her into the wall. Marlene and Kim turn around, surprised to see him. When Ellie tries to retrieve her knife from underneath Joel's foot, he holds her at gunpoint, prompting Marlene and Kim to hold Joel at gunpoint. Marlene urges Joel to point his weapon at her instead of Ellie, and the women lower their weapons as Joel shifts to holding them at gunpoint. Marlene claims she needed the car battery to relocate Ellie, but asserts neither she nor Kim are in any position to do so anymore. She proposes that Joel smuggle her, to which Kim, Ellie, and Joel immediately object. Marlene offers Joel and Tess a fully fueled truck, guns, and supplies if they smuggle Ellie to the State House. Upon briefly talking it over with Joel, Tess agrees to the plan. Ellie does not, but Marlene forces her to go. Joel, Tess, and Ellie walk briskly through the rainy streets. The three reach Joel's apartment. Ellie eavesdrops on Joel and Tess as they discuss a contingency plan to head to Bill and Frank's town, as well as a plan for Tess to scout the area ahead while Joel rests. Using this information, Ellie cracks a portion of a smuggling code, given to Joel by Bill and Frank, hidden in Joel's book. She deduces that 60s music implies no new information, and 70s music implies a new message. When Joel enters, she asks who Bill and Frank are and what 80s music implies. Joel, annoyed, ignores her questions and takes a nap on the couch. Ellie notes Joel's broken watch. Joel wakes after nightfall. Ellie seeks confirmation of Joel's ability to handle the operation, and Joel questions Ellie's importance. Ellie claims that "Wake Me Up Before You Go-Go" by Wham had played on the radio while he slept, visibly worrying Joel. Ellie then reveals she lied to gauge his reaction to an 80s song playing on the radio, and finishes cracking the smuggling code. 80s implies Bill and Frank are in trouble. Before Joel can reprimand her, Tess enters and says it is time to leave. Fedra patrols the streets, enforcing a curfew. Joel, Tess, and Ellie emerge from underground. The group discreetly makes their way through the apocalyptic rubble, ducking behind buildings and cars until they come across a urinating soldier. The soldier is startled when the group tries to sneak past him and it is revealed that the soldier is Lee, the man that Joel had bribed with drugs. Despite Joel's urges for compromise, Lee asserts his authority over them and insists on enacting the standard FEDRA response to escaping civilians. Tess attempts to negotiate, but without success. Lee makes them kneel with their hands on their head and begins to scan them. As he scans Ellie, she stabs him in the leg with her knife. Quickly recovering, he holds Ellie at gunpoint, but Joel blocks him. The situation triggers Joel's PTSD, as it parallels the death of Sarah. As Lee advances, Joel lunges at him and pummels his face into the ground in a furious rage as Ellie watches, mesmerized. Tess then picks up the scanner, which indicates that Ellie is infected. Ellie denies this, and as Tess pleads with Joel, Ellie shows her the bite on her arm, saying she got it 3 weeks prior. Realizing the greater threat, the three of them decide to seek safety. Joel grabs Lee's assault rifle, and they set off to navigate the unsettled ruins of a tempestuous Boston. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like this video and leave a comment below. And subscribe to the channel for more content. Thanks for your support. See you in the next video.